I gotta work on the cart a little. Holy smokes. Every time I look at myself in the mirror, or in this case, camera, can't help but notice how bald I am. I think this is going to be a working live stream. I'm going to work on the cart whilst I speak to you fine people. What's going on, man? I'm gonna work on the old changeover to the site here while I'm doing the live stream. Because that sounds like it would be fun to me. And plus, I got a lot of crap. Well, I'm not actually racing anytime soon, so it's not that big of a deal. But also, stuff's got to get done. So gotta get the work in whilst I can. And then after this live stream, I got to go change the oil on my son's car. Awesome. I love being a car guy. Not really. Because everybody and their brother asks you, hey, what about my car? What do you think about this? Hey, could you just, it's just like, yeah, man. I'm not being a jerk whatsoever, but if you do something for 8 hours a day because it's your job, the last thing you want to do after hours is work on cars. I work on cars, but I'm not a car guy, if that makes sense. I'm not like oh man, did you see the new model of the classic car? I'm not that guy. I can appreciate classic cars. I can appreciate new cars. I can appreciate cars in general. But when it's your living, you really lose a lot of zest for the automotives. No racing this weekend. Got my little girls. Nice. Yep, definitely. Good for you though. Family first. Listen. We skipped out on a family reunion one time to go racing because we were points racing at a local track way back in the day, and I was having a lot of fun seeing family members I hadn't seen in a while. I probably should have changed that and not gone and hung out with the family, but it is what it is. I'm not currently racing. I'm not this weekend. Or next weekend. I'll be camping next weekend too. So I got 2 weeks off. I raced last weekend. I raced 400 class down to my local track because the Clone Wars got canceled. But that's what I'm working on, getting the scythe together. And I just noticed I always reference the Recon as a 2017. It's not, it's a 16. I just noticed the tag on the crossbar. Not that it really matters. I don't, I still don't buy into the whole, they're metallurgists would say that they do flex a little bit, but I don't think chassis flex out. I think components flex out more than chassis do. So I can't seem to find a balance at this one particular track there. So I'm gonna try the scythe and see what I was really fast 2 years ago on a loaner scythe from the Pisas, who are Motorworks. They let me drive it, and I was super fast on that. And I want to give it a whirl. It's just it's a pain because transferring everything over from UAS to back to Clone is strange. When using black sand and Acrosol 50/50 on Reapers after one wipe a day, you start getting this oily feel on top. Is that yes? The black sand will let you know exactly when you have exceeded its ability to penetrate into the surface. Now, Acrosol is going to help it get a little deeper. Acrosol is going to open up the pores, we'll call it. It's going to open up the tire, allow the chemical in black sand, the bite adder, to penetrate as far as it ends. But yes, when you have wiped either straight black sand or black sand with Acrosol to the tire's potential, it will get a glazed over look. That means it's full up, like it won't go any further into the tread. So yes, that's what you're experiencing there. Yeah. That I have a lot of blood fam, as you say, but they're far away. Like for instance, my uncle Matt, he is in Hawaii with his wife. His wife is Okinawan, so he met her in the Marines, and they live in Hawaii now. He works for the government. He's something to do with cybersecurity, something, or I don't know. It's I always wondered it, when he was getting that job. I was just like, did they check me out? Who's this loudmouth on YouTube? You related to that guy? But anyway, and then I got family down in Pennsylvania, Florida, so we're kind of spread all over. My sister and I and mother are in the same town, and then my grandmother. Yeah, we got still a little bit of core here, but yeah, my uncle, his and my cousins are down to Pocono this weekend. I just saw they started setting up campground. Awesome, good for them. Okay. Can I use TrackTech Blue Tire Wash to get rid of the oil feel? Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, even like I would say that if you wanted to just do a quick wipe of straight Acrosol to get rid of that feel, but I wouldn't be overly concerned with it unless it's super sandy like that. There's something I have to do a video on that with the oily preps and a sandy like surface that the oils can plug up the tire, just even rolling on grid going out there, and that you'd have to scuff that off to get back to chemical. But yeah, absolutely, Blue Tire Wash was designed not to pull like for instance Simple Green will bite into the tire. Well, that was Blue Tire Wash was designed to it will grab some of it, but it's designed not to pull all the work that you've already done out of it. It cleans the tire without removing the treatment. But that there's no way around it. That when you clean something, when you put something on a tire, you're going to affect what you've done to it. But to what degree? Blue Tire Wash was actually created to do that. So you can give it a whirl if you want. I'd spray them down, just kind of rub it around and wipe it off, and I'm sure that the excess will come right off. If not, if it's being a pain and you're really concerned about it, just a plain wipe of Acrosol just to kind of peel that off. But Acrosol is gonna potentially wipe out some of what you've already done. Just buyer beware type of thing. Got my first weekend at the track. Yeah, that's I haven't been out. I haven't been out to Turkey Trot in a minute. A couple of years ago, we went up there with UAS, and I had all sorts of gearing problem, and it was really weird. Like I'd been fast at that track before, and I really struggled the last time I was at Turkey Trot. But I could see that could see Clone being a lot of fun up there. But yeah, that's surprising. Oh, you're the only one in 375. That's strange. 375, I think, is a real happy medium for clones. Although down to AMS there, that I'd say arguably 300 and 350 dominate as far as count goes, and then 375 and 400 after that. I'm at that weird spot. I signed up for 400 points, but I'm at that weird spot where I can run no weight on the cart and make. I'll be a little heavy for 375. I'm like 385 ish. But I'm not worried about 10 pounds. But I just run 400, just so I'm not running heavy. I can run, I can scale out at 405, and that's I'm right almost dead nuts. But yep, yeah, I would assume those are bigger, a little more sweeping turns. I would say you probably don't need inch and a half, inch and three quarters rear stagger. You probably inch and a quarter will do you. I managed it. I was pretty. I won't say pretty fast. I was down to AMS. Everybody, the bull ring videos I put out there, and I ran inch and a quarter one practice, and it wasn't bad. I prefer inch and a half, so it rotates real easy through the center of the corner. But yeah, I digress. All right, we are putting my master cylinder. So we'll just give you a quick go around here. What I'm working on whilst you guys are looking. This was my clone cart. You can see it now has the UAS bumper on it. That's these hold the wedge. These would go out here and hold the wedge. So basically I'm just transferring everything over from the clone, making this one UAS, and then the scythe is going to be a clone. I'm just going to test it because I just something I've tried like 3 different setups on this. I don't think I'm missing on tires that bad. Matter of fact, my tire situation is way better than it was last year, and it just doesn't feel very fast. I'm missing something. Something is going on. So the only thing that I found when I was going to this is all the components that are replaced are on the Recon. So now I'm going to have to take basically the L blocks and everything I replaced at the beginning of the season and put them over on the scythe because there's nothing really wrong. I've replaced all the bearings on the scythe, but these spindles are, I don't even know how old. I would venture a guess at 2017 that have the bearings replaced in them, but the spindles have been around for a minute. The Heims have been around for a minute. The reason kind of running the beat up stuff on UAS is because it's not as crucial on UAS. Should it be done? Absolutely. But only if I have the finances to do so. All right, now I don't have the finances to do so, so I'm going to put all the newest components that I have, the newest components I have back on the clone cart, so I'm not as far out to lunch. I don't believe that anything I did to the front end, bearings, etc. There's no way that had anything to do with me being slow. I'm missing something. I'm missing a setup thing. I'm just something. I've changed a couple times. I don't understand what's going on. So not complaining. Just go to work. I preach this stuff on the channel and I do it myself. Just if something's not working, don't beat your head against the wall. Try something different. And I'm trying something different. I was driving home the other night and I was keeping pace with most of the competitors in 400, but it took me a minute to get my line going and then get moving forward a little bit. I got shuffled back off the start. I think I have to make a clutch adjustment. I think I have to raise that a little bit, get my starts on point. But it took me a minute to get my line dialed in to where my cart was happy and running at this speed. But by that time, everybody's not taking off, but they've gotten a jump on me. So I try and practice what I preach best I can. Don't ever claim to be a professional at this stuff. Oh, and I'm going to move that back too. Yeah, I'm going to move I have one of the quick things maybe I can mention on here is this. I have this in the front hole. So you have, your length on your right side. If you back it up, this makes turning, it's a heavier steering wheel, but it transfers weight faster, better for bull rings, more better for bigger tracks is the front. If you have the option of front or back, and being I run mostly on short tracks around here. I'm going to put it in the back hole so my steering it's a quicker transfer, and we'll want to get in the corner a little better. So yeah, I'm going to change all these components. It's a lot of work, but I got a couple weeks. I don't know that I'm going to run 4th of July. I don't know that I'm going to run 4th of July weekend, but maybe I see that local tracks got firecracker 40s, so 40 lap features. Wouldn't be a bad idea, but my intent is to run June or July. It'll be 2 weeks after that. So again, with the decision I have to make, I either run UAS July 12th or that flat run, or I go down to Clone Wars if it's going to run. If it, the third time's the charm, are they going to run? I'm leaning towards the Clone Wars only because of this. I love UAS. I love all my brethren in UAS and going to run, but it is a track I've been to it a whole bunch of times. I haven't had the big show clone experience yet, and I'm not concerned about points in UAS. I don't care. I've said it a bunch of times this year. I'm doing it for the love of the game, to go out to the nationals, to go and experience that again, because I absolutely love seeing all the people I haven't seen in years. but the experience and the content that I could acquire from going to Clone Wars down in Selinsgrove, being on a different tire, something I'm not, familiar with. It's just, I think there's more value to me in doing that. I think that it's going to be more fun to run the UAS ride. But we'll see. I may change my mind. But right now, as it stands, I bought a gear driver. I bought tires for the Clone Wars. They're going to be aged up a little more, so the longer it holds out, the more those are going to be possibly usable tires. I probably should scuff them, but I don't know that you need to scuff Reapers as you would Maxes. I think just age. I think it's more of an age. The best, he's asking, how do you figure out gearing when going to a different track? Best thing is get online, get on Facebook, go to the, whatever track page. Usually there's a track page, and just ask, somebody you might, you can ask just blatantly out on Facebook. Also, there's Bob's Four Cycle. If you've ever been there, if you don't do Facebook, I get it. You can go to fourcycle.com and then post a question in whatever region you're in. They have Northeast, Southeast, all that. And then just say, hey, this is, track, looking for clone, blah, 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 gearing, or whatever class you're running. And usually somebody will get to you on that. But I would probably, the best bet is go onto Facebook and, either find a region or find that particular track and just post on their page, hey, I'm looking to come to this track. Other than that, find somebody that maybe that has been to that track before that you trust, and inquire. That's what I did for Selinsgrove. I reached out, Tony Boots there, and said, hey, what am I looking at gearing? I don't have mini lights, I don't have mini gears. So what am I looking at gear wise? So he does. Data from UAS and what gearing I used to run, at least overall ratio at particular tracks. So I can figure that out. I don't have that reservoir of knowledge for my clone. So much like you, I have to ask, hey, what are these guys on, type of thing. August 30th. 30th. There's 10K on the 31st. I don't have plans to do it. Does that mean that it's not going to happen? No. It's 2 weeks before nationals. So finances dictates everything I do. Would I like to? Sure, that'd be cool. I hear it's a bag of yellow track. That's my kind of love right there. As much as I like Burris, I like all the tires. I don't pick one or the other, but I'd say UAS wise, the most experience I have is with yellows. So I hear it's a yellow track. I do have yellows. It would be cool to go there. That's quite prestigious and quite the chunk of change. But do I foresee me doing it? Probably not. But time will tell. I'd love to do a lot of things, and finances usually says whether or not I'm going to do that or not. But yeah, it's tough. If I had all the budget in the world, I'd race everywhere. But I also have to balance family. We're going on not this weekend, but the following weekend. We're going on an RV trip, just pretty local, but that's going to be fun. That's why I couldn't find those. Have you ever put tools in the wrong drawer? Yeah. Me too. Okay. I am. Yeah. So basically, we are deconverting a UAS ride back into a clone. And I say back into a clone, it's never been a clone. So when I posted this on Facebook, just a picture of the scythe picture, or the sticker. People are like, oh, that's, a bad chassis. And it's just like, what? I mean, I mean, that's that. I got third in the nation on that. I also won the Central New York UAS regional title there, whatever you want to call it. I won that on this chassis. So I call fooey on that whole. The scythe that isn't good. Um, but I will say this: that people feel the same way about the Deuce. But some of the tracks that I raced on regularly or had raced on regularly, I turned some of the absolute fastest lap times I've ever been on that chassis. Now, it was a little more temperamental than I had hoped it'd be. I think it just doesn't have as big of a tire window as most people like. And then when people started giving Harold a whole bunch of crap about it, he was trying to fix a problem with roll speed and give them more roll speed, but then it made it more complicated in the turns. He, like you said, he cut up the jig, and that was the end of that. And then he reintroduced the recon. Yeah. The what was I going to say? Somebody had it was a Tricon for sale. Now you never know on Facebook when people post stuff, whether or not they're being deceitful or what. But it was clearly a Tricon, because I've been running Phantom for a while. I know what a Tricon looks like. I don't own one, but I have a Recon. And then somebody was like, "Oh, that's a Recon." And it's just like, you can see the rear crossbar in that photo. Now, whether or not that was truly for sale, I don't know. Why is this all goofy? Why is that different from what I had on there? Oh, you know what? Didn't I run the... I think I have to make an adjustment here. Okay. It was weird. It's to change tires over. It's the most cost-effective way for a new person to change tires over new wheels. That is cost-effective. Ask somebody at the track to bring their bead breaker with them to the track, and maybe you can dismount some tires and remount them. If you know somebody that's local nearby, ask them if you can. Cost effective. It's tough. I know that I have two different type of tire like bead breakers here. One is not so ideal for breaking the beads, but is really good at dismounting the tires. And then the other one is the KKP. I'll show you. When it comes down to it, it's you almost need. I got a whole bunch of crap in the way. When I'm working on stuff, everything is just ass. Ooh, I almost swore. Buttholes and elbows. So this is the KKP. There's an open engine. This is the KKP. It just has a jack, or you could build one yourself. If you get this concept, the ring here, ring there, and it breaks it down. It's honestly having something to break down tires is kind of necessary. Or if you can find something used, this is the other one. I'll show you. Probably just stuck my hand in a whole bunch of. But you would take this, you put a tire on there, and then you would push here, and it pushes the tire off the bead. I honestly have always had some sort of tire machine, so it's hard for me to say what to use if you don't have one. Best bet is, cost effective would be see if you can't borrow something, or like I said, go to the track if you know somebody that would have one, allow you to borrow one, that type of thing, until you can afford to get one. But it's if you're one of the things that you probably eventually should either build or come up with is some sort of a tire breakdown machine. I would possibly look on eBay. Somebody sent me a link, or not a link, but a video of a tire tool, like somewhat like the one that was on the ground there. Um, and I didn't see a price on it, but it looked to me like it wasn't going to be that expensive. So I'd honestly just go on eBay. I know everybody says Amazon nowadays, but eBay, I find that you can find some better deals if you're willing to wait a little bit for stuff. Um, just type in, tire breakdown tool, cart tire tool, something along those lines, and then see what pops up. There might be something real reasonable on there that you can make do with. So there's my opinion on that. I got to adjust the length of my. This is the problem here. Without you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, why I'm griping here. So being I run UAS, typically there's a 3-gallon tank that sits right here, or just below 3 gallons. But that causes me to move the original positioning from I cut it off here, and then I moved it up here. So I just moved the master cylinder forward, allows all this stuff to happen, and then it gives me room for my tank. And so between the two, the difference in the two is when you I got bugs out here. I have to lengthen this. Not that real big a deal. I just noticed when I went to, between the two chassis, this distance between the Recon and the Scythe and where I mounted this is actually different. So I gotta, have to extend that a little bit. No big deal. Yeah. So is everybody running on 4th of July weekend or no? I believe 4th of July is on a Friday this year. So 3-day weekend. That's awesome. Is everybody planning on taking the weekend off, enjoying with family? We are not going camping. I believe that we are. Here's the thing. I think if 4th of July is on a Friday, I can't look at my thing. If 4th of July is in fact on Friday, we're probably going to go to our local amusement park and go see fireworks there, and get it's kind of busy, but we did it last year and it was really fun. It was like we didn't have to worry about going to parties and blah blah blah. And my family and myself, I drink. I'm not a big partier anymore. So it just, good time, hang out with the family. And if they want to go, I don't know. I guess I don't know what's going on. But yeah, we get to chill out and get to chill out and have a good time and then see fireworks before we drive home. It's like an hour from here. It's not too bad. Oh, you're very welcome. That's my intent. I just want everybody to always understand that, that I don't ever claim to know everything. It's just to try and help. I don't, I just put it in your, hey, people are doing this. This is what I've heard. This is what I've, people have told me they're doing this and that. I don't, obviously, I haven't been in victory lane since the beginning of last year. So I'm not, I never ever want to be, perceived as I think I know everything about anything. I'm just here to help. And I just happen to be fairly comfortable in front of the camera. So it's really it brings joy to my heart to hear people thank me. I don't accept compliments well, besides just say thank you. It's awkward for me, but also that is the intent of the channel. That these are things that I've always been curious about. I still am curious about. I past couple weeks I've noticed that when I'm at the track, when I'm conversing with somebody, I just open your ears. Don't block out. That's hubris can ruin so many things. Confidence is way different than arrogance. And I like to, no matter what, try and go into a situation, an interaction with somebody, and just open my ears and listen. You may disagree. I may have theories of why that won't work, but you can tell me what you think, and I'll go, okay, and then I try and understand it. You know, I think a long time ago, my dad, it was just like, I don't know where you come up with all these video ideas. It's because of that. It's because I just open my ears and try and understand where people are coming from, why you would do what to whatever, you know, chassis or tire or this or that. Why would you do that? Hey, what adjustment did you do here? And it makes my brain think. And I think, well, if I'm thinking about it, then somebody else is thinking about it. So why don't I do a video on that? And that, you know, like that's, you know, I try and, you know, get that out to people, that I don't ever just like hard line. You have to use track tech tire treatments. It's the only fast way. I know that's not true. I know there's a lot of great, you know, prep programs out there. I think that, you know, when somebody gets good with the track tech line, they're just as bit as, you know, as fast as anybody else. But everybody gets the new. They got their own. Hey, this really worked for me. Fantastic, great, cool. That's cool. But not everybody has black sand, do they? No racing, going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Nice. I I've been to Tennessee once. Dumpling Valley. Whatever championship was that, 2015? No, maybe it was. Do I have a picture of me? Yes, that is Dumpling Valley. Google car photo. Where's the? Oh, 2014. So that, yeah. Last time I was in Tennessee was 2014. I do have an answer to that. I remember really liking it down there. As a matter of fact, I got to try real moonshine when I went down there. There was a buddy of mine in the UAS or UAS adjacent that actually had real shine, and yo, oh man, that stuff was good. No racing for me. This it just blew up my mark. Oh no, that's terrible. That is one of the it freaks me out a little bit. I think I can handle the problem. I have a spare jug and I have a spare piston for my two stroke, for my Bama. So God forbid something happen, but I have backup for it. But if you rewind 3 years ago, I had backups for everything. Matter of fact, I think there were three Bamas in here when I was racing. You know, basically for somebody, my buddy Walt. We had anything I could, you know, anything I could ask for. I didn't ask for much because it's not the way I am. But he would insist on having backups of backups of backups. So I never had that problem. Now I do have a backup clone. I have two clone engines, but I only have one open. So I must keep this alive if I want to continue to run UAS. That it is essential that I can't just swap out an engine. If I have a weekend or, you know, a night, I can change out a piston and a jug and, you know, go to that. But that's tough when you lose an engine. It's not good. It's definitely not good. Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to karting. Yeah, it's obviously I've been doing it for 20 plus years. I think I kind of like it. What is that? No. All right. Yeah, it's gonna. I wonder if they'll continue to do that. So you notice in the back of the videos and stuff, I have a couple, you know, pictures. Mark Bergfeld always had those done, and Mark, you know, just as of recently lost his battle with cancer. So I don't know if they're going to continue to do that in UAS or not. Trophies are nice, but pictures of yourself doing what got you to that place are even better, in my opinion. I do like them, although like eventually, if I ever organize this place, obviously it's just a barn. That's what I work out of, is a barn. If I were to ever like insulate this place and make it an actual shop, um, I would hang them up accordingly. But I got open modifieds. I think there was 500 win there. I got another one, 250 over here. Yeah, I did a lot of stuff in UAS stuff in racing. It was a lot of fun for a long time. Now on to the next challenge. Not that I'm giving up on UAS, but on to the next challenge, which is getting fast at clone racing, which seems to be a little harder not than I expected, but a little harder than I wanted it to be. I thought maybe because I have a fairly smooth style of racing now. I've adapted that over the years. I've gotten better at being smooth and not as erratic, but also the little stuff. The little stuff is what makes you fast and clone, and it's an adjustment to the. There's just so much power when you're driving an open that you're not concerned about little things, and then you run a clone and you're just like, holy smokes, every little, an eighth of an inch, a stagger, or one tooth of gear, or two wipes of prep, and things are way different. It's like, oh no. That's probably my prep game is track tack products are strong. They're concentrated. I have found that anybody using them, if you find yourself to be locked down, if you find yourself to be too much gripped up, it's a good idea to thin things out. Acrosol, track tack has quick dry, something to nap the VM and P or whatever it's called. You can thin up these things, or you can cut some of the products with track tack products. Say use Ruby to cut black sand with, or use SST. There's different ways to cut the products to bring down the strength of them. This is something I really haven't dealt with up until this point running clones, because of running Burris especially. Burris are pretty temperamental to prep. And how much you wipe on them and what aggression level that you are using. So I'm finding that to whereas, I used to run a lot of Aggie Yellows when I was running UAS, and I mean, you could just hammer wipes. The strongest stuff they got, the Topaz is the better than GoPs, all that stuff. You just wipe, and your loud pedal is going to take care of you being stuck to the ground. You're not going to have, you're not going to be locked down on a UAS ride. Chances, you can get slower, you can cause yourself to get tight and stuff like that, but chances are you're not going to lock yourself down in a UAS ride. To whereas, especially running Burris 11s, Burris 33s, you have to be very aware of what you're doing to the tires not to go crazy with particular setups. I'm not saying that you can't go crazy. You can, run internal for, Burris if you want to. It's not something I have ever done, but if you adjust your chassis for that style, there's a balance as well. If you're going to go with a heavy saturated tire, you might want to consider running your cart just as free as you possibly can, so you have a chemical attraction to the track, but your cart is set up for that. So that's a balancing act as well. You you are kidding. I'm finding that out. I have firsthand finding that out. So I'll say it again because I think it's a valid point that in UAS racing I had been blown out. I don't know if that's the correct term. I had been given the riot act on Bob's Four Cycle way back when for driving over my head, having an extremely fast cart, talent maybe, and people being in my way. And has is that right? I believe the comment was, has anybody on here not been hit by Taft before? That was a thing. So my aggression level in UAS was always somewhere in the 7 to 8, maybe a 9 at times. I don't think I've ever. I would consider a 10 like disrespectfully running into people. That would be a bad aggression level. When I've gotten older. And when I came into clone, I didn't want to ruffle feathers. I didn't want to be, a jerk about things. I didn't want that same perception that I was that aggressive in clone. The problem is that if you are not that aggressive, if you do not wick things up a little bit from where I was last year, you are going to get freight trained. If you do not take the runs that you have, you are going to you're going to get sent back. You're going to get moved. The people behind you do not care that you are trying to be respectful. I that is something I've learned. So it was uncomfortable for me. I got to run, and I was low enough. I had my nose halfway, but they were they were coming down on me, and I was just kept my foot in it. I was just like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't let this go. I can't, I have to wick it up a little bit more. I still don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that gets on, especially running a Kart channel, telling people not to be overly aggressive. I don't want to be that guy. But it's a balance. If you're not aggressive enough, you're going to cost yourself spots. You're going to cost yourself time and money and everything else. Whereas there has to be something of that balance, that you can be aggressive but respectful and try and earn that from other people once you get the speed to be up there. But I don't know. I get older. People get older. You may get older and think that I don't want to be perceived that way. And that's a real thing. It's, I don't want to be looked at that way. Winning is not everything to me anymore. It really isn't. Having competitive kart, being respected, doing things the right way is bigger for me now. And eventually, when you're 48, maybe some of you are, that comes to you that says, I'll lift, I'll brake check just a hair. I'll give you a little grace because I may need it in the coming months here. Yeah, you aren't kidding. And it's tough for me because I still don't run clone enough. I'm not running it for points. I'm not running in big money races or anything like that. I know that the people that when I go down to AMS, I'm running against people who are running for points. I don't want to screw up their day either, but also, like, I'm not going to get freight trained. I'm not going to be used up. You can get me mad. That's still a thing. Like, I am human. If you hit me hard enough, if you use me up enough, you're going to find yourself on the wrong end of my bumper. And I live by the golden rule. I also race by the golden rule. Like, I will give you respect. I will try and do everything as clean as possible. If you start riding me dirty, you can expect it. But yeah, 40 is. I know. I hear that. So I'm right at that level. To whereas I'm older, but I'm not old. I get I'm bald and I got gray hair, so I'm getting there. I'm earning my chops. This is not doing what I want it to do. Oh, you know what? That might be all right. Yeah, that's okay. Who needs brakes on a clone? Ooh, one thing I'll show you. So I got to replace this stuff. While I'm kind of thinking of it. Big shout out to oh wait, I can do it right here. Big shout out to 5.3 Titanium. They have now joined the beginning of the videos for supporting the little guy, aka me. Look at this setup. Oh, it's been so long since I had some nice new brake stuff. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Some pads on there. Got their nice hub, the revolver hub system. Really cool. Also, the newest addition to everything will be these. If you saw the cool video I put out there. 3 Titanium. Yeah. So it's one thing when I'm doing stuff like this. When I say 5.3 Titanium, the hub is aluminum, machined aluminum. It's lightened, all the nice edges and stuff on it, but the hardware is titanium, so it's lightened up quite a bit. I got front and rear hubs now for this thing because oh geez, I didn't mean to hit that. Why did I do that? Yeah. I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. Yeah, absolutely. I forgot. Yeah, and it's, within reason. If there is something to this, though, I will say eye for an eye, but also if somebody moves you and then your cart comes on and say it's later in the run and then you can pass them without touching them, that's also like I challenge you to a duel, taking your glove off and smacking somebody with it. Like it's straight up disrespectful that I passed you back using grace, not moving you. You know, that's it. Kind of like, guess what I can do without doing what you did. There's that thing. How long before they start making? I don't know. Yeah, Scott. Uh, I got the BS with him. I got to meet him at JC Specialties, and we got BSing, and we're out in the back 40. Everybody, not everybody left, but a lot of people left. They were starting to set up the slot car track, and I found myself back there. Denver Smith was back there. George Bark, yeah, Scott, myself. Tony Boots was back there. Just all kind of BSing and hanging out, and it was a good time. There was a lot of machine work talk that I didn't understand a lick of it. Access this, and I don't know whatever to talk about, but it was again, open your ears, understand. So you make this out of that, and this is what what are you doing with this stock, that stock? Going to JC Saturday for their slot car. Nice, dude. That's awesome. I could see me being into something like that, but I need another hobby. Like I need a hole in it. If I ever were to back down on kart racing, there's so many other things that I have interest in. Tattooing for one, getting back into that, but I don't foresee me quitting, especially now. I created a whole friggin' channel around this thing that backing off the kart racing stuff would be kind of silly in a position where I'm at. I can understand why people, racing gets expensive just in general, no matter what it is. And you can probably, you probably understand all too well that even slot cars, if there's something to do, you can spend money on it. You can have the best of the best and do this and that, and just if I hate when people like act like kart racing is so expensive. Well, of course it's expensive. It's not food. It's not air. It's not health. It's a way of life for some people, but also like it's something that you do supposedly for fun because you have a passion for it. This thing's making me mad. I'm just gonna cut you off if you don't knock it off. Yep, that's what you're getting. But yeah, you can spend money on it. So the tattoo thing, I bought just the new style gun. I apprenticed as a tattoo artist 24 years ago, and they got whole new system for tattooing now. There's the cartridges with the needles. I learned how to solder them way back when. They don't do that anymore. Anyway, so I started looking into it, just like, hey, what's a good gun, good tattoo gun, go for nowadays. And you can spend a couple $1,000s on some of these tattoo guns. So I'm like, whew, that got expensive in a hurry. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. That's anything you want to be into, anything you want to get into. Yeah, my buddy, Jamie, he likes pool. Playing pool, billiards, and he's playing in bar leagues and this and that. And he was talking about some of the sticks he got and this and that. And there's carbon fiber. I said anything you want to be into. There's something super cool and expensive about it. And of course you want it. Do you need it? Absolutely not. You can go to the local bar. You can, got a buddy who's got a pool table. You can go and shoot billiards anywhere. All right, cool. But playing leagues, playing in competition, then it becomes a competitive thing. Now I got to have the best of the best. Hey, this is my breaking cue. This is my bank shot cue. This is, there's all sorts of that stuff in there. Anything you want to be into, you can spend money on it. That's the way it is. Those are 960. This seems like a lot of work, and it is, to change out everything, to switch over chassis. But it does give me checking over stuff. Sometimes you miss stuff. What's going on, Mr. Bill Steer? Yeah, I watched some video. I apologize for the situation that has been thrust upon you. I'm assuming that's a thing. That's a bummer, man. I hate that for you. Saw that pop up. I'm like, oh, for frick's sake. I almost swore earlier. You guys almost caught me. It's not that big of a deal for me not to swear because I basically treat you guys kind of like I was speaking in front of my grandmother. I don't swear in front of my grandma, nor I try not to swear in front of my mother. It doesn't always work, but I try and be respectful. I know there's kids that watch this stuff. They may watch the replay. It's unnecessary. But I do say that sometimes when I go to say stuff, it's difficult not to do it because it would be if you were just one person and hanging out in your shop. It's not how I'd speak. I know it's not nice. It's probably not that great, but I try not to swear. And yeah, I almost dropped a butthole, but with different words earlier. Sorry for the banging around. My bad. Just going to go ahead and change over, like I said at the beginning of the stream, change it over from the Recon to the Scythe. The Recon has all the brand new stuff that the newer spindles and the newer Heims and everything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch that over to this one. And try and find some speed. It's tough. Sometimes you're just missing something, and you can't quite put your finger on it. Matter of fact, when I made the comment on Facebook, somebody had commented, and I know that chassis aren't the end all be all of everything. Once you change a chassis, you just don't become lightning fast or anything. But there's a general consensus that the Tricons are pretty darn fast, and they said that they essentially were, in fewer words, but they were essentially struggling with the Tricon as well. So sometimes it's a setup thing, sometimes it's a tire thing, sometimes it's a driver thing, and getting all those things, the stars to align, makes a difference. So I don't know. Again, I like the Scythe. I've won on the Scythe. I won a few UAS races on the Scythe. I ran third on it a month ago in UAS. I got beat by one. That's what Kelsey was on when she beat me with it. She was on a Scythe. So we'll see how it goes. That's awesome, Bill. That's yeah. I know I shouldn't. It's naughty. Foul mouth hooligan. Nothing is as bad, I suppose, as work. It's not great at work because I work in a body shop. I'm with a bunch of dudes and we're sailor mouths sometimes. But mostly when I'm playing Call of Duty, it's my wife said something, and Doug's probably watching or maybe watching, and she says, "You're unbelievable when you play Call of Duty." I'm like, listen, if the game would stop cheating, maybe I wouldn't switch so bad. And what's going on, Dan? Maybe if Doug would stop swearing in my ear because she doesn't hear it. I have headphones on, so she doesn't hear Doug. I'm blaming it on him. I'm gonna get a text right after this or Derry, just like, that's not my fault. Yes, the plan is to go to Iowa this year. Yes, in September. I'm not gonna. I have some points. I'm a member now. I got third place points at Blairsville, Pennsylvania. I'm not concerned about points. You need, for those who don't know, a brief scenario of how UAS points work. You have to be welcome. You have to be a member, first things. You pay your dues, and then we run what are called quarter points. So basically, the system goes, in whatever region you run, and you're not limited to any particular region. Each region has two designated races. We call them quarter points. You would get a quarter of your point, and then in order to go for the big deal, you would have to go to the Grand Nationals and face the best of the country at where the Grand Nationals are. You get half your points there. Now, you can run as many quarter points as you want. You can travel all over the United States, run as many quarter points as you want. They throw out all the lows and keep your highs. So I think is it 100 points? I think you get 100 points, for a quarter point win. And then is it 2 point separation? I think it's 2 points. So 100 points, 98, 96, etc. How you perform at your local region will net you bonus points. So if you take first at your region, I run Western New York. Say I get first, I would get 10 bonus points going to there. You can go into the Grand Nationals with a grand total of 210 points. There have been numerous times where there have been multiple people tied at 200, 210 points, whatever it be. You go to the Grand Nationals, you face against those people, and then basically it's a winner takes all. The winner of the points does not have to be the winner of the race. They only are competing against basically the people they're there against in points. So it's not a complex system if you understand it and if you've been doing it for a while. To new people, it's a little more, it's a little more nuanced than that, but it's a fairly simple concept. It basically forces everybody to go and you can't be a national champion by sitting in your own region. That's the way it was set up before. There was a long time ago. We had it set up where, basically there were this point structure where the Southerners were able to run most of their premier events before us Northerners had even had a chance to take the track because of our winter and everything like that. So matter of fact, my dad used to be a UAS administrator. I was a UAS administrator. He came up with the basic premise of this quarter point system. I don't even know. It was a long time ago. I can't remember, 10 years? A long time. It was a long time ago and we still use this premise because it really works. It forces you, if you really want to face the best of the best, if you want to be, I won't say there's no money involved. It's a prestige thing. As an entity, I think that the UAS can only pay out $600 to the winner of the Grand Nationals. But it's the prestige of being called champion. Or in my case, this thing that sits there, it is right there. I got third. That is the best I've ever done in national points. And it was a lot of fun to do that. I had to go down to Georgia to race that race in order to do that well. So it's complex. Again, it's complex, but it's not complex. It's a simple quarter point. So you get half your points in your region, or whatever regions you run, those quarter points, and then you go there and you get your other half of the points at the Grand Nationals. Somebody talked too much and he's got a very dry throat. So yeah, and then all this work I'm doing here, converting over the open to a clone cart. I have to go and reverse all that back on it. Now, I ran that cart as a UAS cart 2 years ago. So I know it works. I know that the Recon likes being an open. Matter of fact, I have a lot of wins back in 2017, 18, 19. When I was primarily on the Recons. They behaved excellent as an open, and so did the Scythe. I did very well on the Scythe, so I'm not concerned about that. I think I can find. I've had at least a taste of success on a Scythe before, so I'm kind of going with that. I'm crossing my fingers, and we'll see how it goes. Delaware is my home track. I'm looking forward to watching. Yeah, it should be a riot. I'm curious what type of tire it's going to take. I've heard pinks and blues, the Maxxis. Obviously, I'm not leaving home without some Burris. I'm not leaving home without some Vegas. Basically, I still got my 4x8 little trailer, and That'll be carrying the cart, obviously, and everything I can kind of pile in there. But I'm willing to bet the back seat or the bed of my truck is just going to be tires. Like I'm going to dowel. If and nobody's seen that before, where did I put them? I got just dowels. If you ever carry, oh wait, I got some right here. Um, I'll have a whole bunch of these going on. Is this zoomed in? Ooh, jeez. All right, I have a whole bunch of this. This is just a dowel through the center of these, and then a ratchet strap. I'll have a whole bunch of those of sets of tires going out there, and I'm sure that they're going to be stacked right up in the, in the bed of my truck. But it should be. We're still trying to work on my other best friends. So Doug and Jamie are my two best friends. Have been my best friends since I was 13 years old, and Doug is going to go with me for sure to the Grand Nationals in September. And then we're trying to talk Jamie. The problem with Jamie is that he's in Florida, so it's going to take Jamie coming from Florida up here to load up with us and load up or hop in. But boys trip, halfway across the United States sounds like a oh, PVC, yeah, that's a good idea too. Absolutely. Oh yeah, that would take up my. I've seen that before. Why didn't I not think of that? I think I have some PVC up in the rafters there. Ooh. Appreciate the info there, but yeah, it should be. Even if it, not even if it's Doug, I'm more than happy to have Doug along. The thing about Doug and Jamie is, they're my brothers. They are not racers. So all this stuff that I talk about racing, it's I'm not saying they don't find it interesting, but they just they've been to very few races that I've done, and it's going to be a whole lot of me talking about racing halfway across the country to Iowa. So I say halfway, it's like 12 and a half hours from us. Not too awful bad. Was there first rolling tire rack? Nice, yeah. So a lot of people, you can use. I have conduit over there too. This is really. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Probably because I probably showed everything that I owned. But I'm gonna go for a dip. I got a weed whack. Here's my trailer. But some people, get really. You can buy tire racks, or it's just a wedge of wood. I got a couple of them. Now it's a small trailer, but just some little triangles, and those hold tires. Yep, conduit works wonders, and it's cheap. That's if you have means of carrying it from like a Lowe's or a local place. Works. Oh, hey, check it out. I got a. There's my RV. Things rad. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Get to have fun in that thing. Taking it out local. It's probably it's like 10 or 15 minutes for me. It's amazing. So I know this is a side thought, but until we had an RV, had no idea there were RV parks even remotely close to us. And as it turns out, there are 2, 3, at least 3 to 4 that are within 15 minutes of me. No idea. Had no idea. Maybe I knew about one that was, like 10 minutes from me. All this time, had no idea those things even existed in my neck of the woods, and then poof, there's. It's like what? I just my boss sometimes will say something about some road. Oh, I went up this, I went up that. He likes to bike ride, and he's just like, where this is, and I'm like, no, I have no idea where that is. He's like, oh, it's just right up here. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm very hyper focused on my. I know my town. Don't get me wrong, but like I work 4 blocks from here, so I go to work and I come home. I'm not. I don't. Maybe when I was young, did the adventure thing, but it just doesn't. I don't go for drives and look at roads anymore. Like I'm very purposeful. Like, hey, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here, and that's that. That's. Yep. All right. I am taking off spindles. Oh, 18 3/4. We're gonna take off these here. So I'm gonna put you guys here. So I can kind of converse and look at you instead of doing this thing. Yep, I gotta take these off, and I gotta put the new stuff on. Yeah, so when you know, yes, this is a lot of work. Yes, it's. I wonder how far. I know some of the professional teams, the really good teams, tear their stuff down. I don't know that they go as far as to remove their spindles, but they could. I guess it wouldn't be a horrible idea if you're being that meticulous about things. I would say that's a very real possibility. I don't know of anybody that does it. Bounce in there. Stop that. But I could see doing that, cleaning behind everything, and dude, that it seems like a lot of work. But I suppose if it's in your everyday repertoire, if you're running, say, the big money races, if you're running state series, if you're this and that, and you want to be, if you want perfection to be controlled or as close to perfection as you get it, I could see doing that. I could see that being a thing that, stripping it completely down to bare chassis, going through every single little thing, probably, replacing bearings and this and that. And I could see that being a thing, just not for, not for what I do. Don't have the budget for that. But I can see, I could understand it again with the whole, you can spend what you want on whatever you want type of thing. If you feel it necessary, if you're finding speed in that, I can see that happening. But yeah, so you'd be, getting rid of this stuff. We're gonna wipe that off while we're having it apart. How's that sound? Yeah, so I got a reverse course. Well, again, it's fine. It's all part of the thing, but then I got to build that thing back up. But one thing is I got some homemade-ish Nerf bars for the scythe here. I had to basically take the standard Nerf bars and then make wedge bars out of them with a triangle to support the wedge. And I actually have Nerf bars that are made for the Recon, so that's good. Now the problem, not a problem, but it's just a bummer. I had cut down my side panels I got from C High Performance. They were specifically made for the Recon. I did not run them on the Recon, so I drilled new holes, and the holes were not where they were supposed to be. And Chris noticed when I posted it on Facebook, and it was unfortunate. But now that I've trimmed the side panels, they are going back on the Recon, but I'm not sure it's going to line up with where everything needs to be. So I still might be adapting things. It's unfortunate, but it's part of the game. Some rags and custom flick. Nice. Yeah, that I say I weld. I taught myself how to weld. I'm a body man, so I know how to weld. At least a MIG. We got a Lincoln, was it 140C or something like that. And technically, I could build a lot of stuff, but also time and the initial investment in doing stuff. It's just like I could see me building a new cart lift and stuff like that with ideas I got from KKP. And then seeing other people's designs, I think that would be kind of cool. It's a time thing. It's using what I got. KKP makes really good stuff, so I haven't messed with it. Keister Kart products. KKP. I think that's what that is. Keister Kart products. Might as well go ahead and clean up all my slots and all that right now. Take off both these, and then I'll take them off the Recon. And one thing I am going to do is I'm going to orient these. So I have to make a video on safety stuff. It should have been done a while ago, but I need to do a whole video on safety and why it's important and everything. And everybody should basically understand that. But I think that I don't know, some people have beef with actually doing the safety stuff. It's I've seen the steering wheels come off in people's hands. So it's as much as it's a pain that you don't want to cotter keys stuff. Necessary evil, and it's not even an evil. It's just don't be lazy. Like make sure things are pinned. Make sure they're weights are double nutted so somebody or have a safety pin or cotter keyed or something along those lines. Safety is it's imperative, especially in UAS. We are the closing rate in open stuff is a I won't say it's more dangerous than clone because clones are so close together. Things can go, somebody gets squirrely, things can go sideways in a hurry. But opens, man, when you hit, you hit hard, and because you're going so fast, and like I said, the acceleration rate is crazy in these things. Um, but I've seen some really gnarly clone stuff too, and that's 15 horsepower. So, but safety, just I think some people think that we're not doing things above. I hate that. I hate that, dude. Hey, how about not die? That'd be cool. And don't give me that. There's a kid in PA right now who's, for what I know, still in the hospital. It's crap's dangerous, man. See, I almost swore there. I don't swear on this channel. You almost got me. Crap's dangerous, man. Let's not make it any more dangerous than we have to. Let's take all the precautions we can. There's a reason why we get safety checks. There's a reason why you got to push your cart up to make sure you got your cotter keys in their holes and you got your safety pins and all this stuff. It's I don't care if it's paint. If it keeps a wheel on, if it keeps you from overlooking something, not seeing that you have your brake hub pinned or whatever it is. I've been there. I've been drilling bolts at big races before, at Grand Nationals before, because I didn't have something pinned. I have to have this style of steering wheel. I have to have a whole bunch of stuff pinned. So I know it's pain. Do it. Safety. Dude, go home in one piece. It's way better. Right? That's yeah. Then now clone stuff, you pull the plug, so no kill switch necessary. But open stuff, yeah. And there are rules in place in UAS. Uh, Not a brake. Some people check the brake. I would say that that's not a check thing. Some people do it. It would be I got brakes right here. But UAS, you have to have a minimum thickness of brakes. Adequate cooling, because it's the I think some people overlook it. It's just like, especially with UAS, especially that much horsepower. Holy crap, man! Don't do that. Don't. You're not only putting yourself in peril, you're putting other people in peril because you don't want to do it. Get out of here. Just do it. Do what is necessary. But I just happened to look up at my thing. Every week I say that I'm only going to be on here for an hour, and then you guys just get me going. You should have heard this epic rant that the street I work on is so busy, and it's so busy for no reason. And I came back in the shop, and I can't say what I said there in here because I don't swear on this channel. But also, it was a rant. It was just flowing. It was so ridiculous. It was a lot of fun to do. I was telling my wife about it. She was just like, "Could you please not tell people that you're crazy?" But anyway, yeah, I just noticed the time. I gotta go. I'm not gonna work on this. I gotta go change the oil on my son's car. So I definitely got to get that done. But I appreciate you guys coming by. Not positive what Sunday's video is going to be yet. Possibly some mixology, prop mixing. I kind of mentioned it earlier a little bit. Breaking up stuff and why you might want to do that. If prepping wasn't already confusing enough, and some people are going to say they hate prep, and I totally get it. I understand where you're coming from, but there's layers to everything, and there's reasons why you might do it. So Sunday's video might be on prep mixing and what I call mixology, getting benefits out of multiple preps at the same time type of thing. but we'll see what my brain comes up with. Again, I'll consult my list and go with it. I like the free thought. I don't like to plan stuff out. I like to sometimes I get inspired about this thought I have, and then I put it on film, and it works out really well because I've thought about these things, and I just trying to put it out on YouTube. So we'll see. But right now it might be mixology, so you might be seeing something on that. The Alchemist, yeah, exactly. But there's an art to prep, and you can be as into it as you want or as not into it as you want. But there are people that are making it super complex, and sometimes they're reaping the benefits of it. But there you go, guys. I'll see you for the video Sunday. We'll do this again next Thursday. Yeah, sounds good. And then yeah, all right. I appreciate everybody coming by. Later.